That's never good. So we got what's going on, everyone? So I'm gonna get a quick video here as my tech just gets out of the way. We're knocking down this first installation of injectors. The second portion, he's going to be getting a fuel pump, and I'll talk more about the injectors, but I don't want to interrupt him and slow him down. The other stuff that we're getting is this little guy. So if you're not, and if this is your first time watching my videos, this is a Haltech Platinum Series Pro plugin. I have a bunch of other videos on the YouTube channel, so if you go on our channel and you search for Haltech and S2000, you're going to see a bunch of these. We do a lot of these. I do kind of want to, in this whole segment, because in all these other videos that I've been doing on S2000s, there's always a couple questions after the videos that guys want me to cover. What I was saying though is every time I do a video about something, there's always a comment, and we always kind of forget to put something in it. So this video, I'm going to go back on the other comments where people want to see stuff featured, and we're going to cover it that time. So we're doing a fuel pump install, injector install. We're actually doing an intake install too. I guess the memo came in this morning that he got the intake in time. So we're doing an intake install, and we're going to install the Haltech, of course. I don't know if I mentioned that right now. And then it's going to go on the dyno, and I'm going to tune it. I'm going to feature it from start to finish. I'll get some more videos too, specifically when I don't have to interrupt anybody underneath the hood. We're going to talk about some stuff too. One thing that we're doing right now is we're wiring the injectors solid, so no injector adapters. I know why people run the injector adapters, the plug and play, and it's a nice concept. You know, you don't have to modify a harness, or if you're going to switch back injectors, you can just take the adapters out. The problem is those adapters, and I've talked about this before in other YouTube videos. Let me give that over there, and he's going to go out really quick. The problem is more so that the adapters are loose. They wiggle a little bit, we haven't seen a good quality one that we like. We even had one. So you have the adapters that have the clip on one end, the clip on the other end, and then the wire in between. We've actually seen the other ones that are a solid hard piece, and they plug into the injector, and then the stock harness plugs into it. We've actually seen those actually fail too and cause a misfire. I'm going to see how many times I can say actually within 2 minutes. You can go back, rewind, and have a drinking game on that. But the adapter harnesses do it correctly, wire them directly. Even if you don't have a problem from the get-go, it does not mean you're not going to have an issue later on. And as I've talked about this before, if you have a slight misfire at, let's say, 7,000 RPMs, 8,000 RPMs, 9,000 RPMs, a slight misfire where that injector turns off and that cylinder runs lean, it could be game over for you, and the engine more so. So I can't stress it enough. And if you don't, or you're scared of wiring, find a local shop. If you're local to us, reach out to us. If you're not local to us, find a local shop that can do it correctly. And you know, we're not going to talk about the whole debate about solder and connectors or crimp connectors. Actually, if you go back in my, I think it's about 4 or 5 videos prior, look up the one podcast. We actually showed you guys what to do to, I'll shoot a link below if I remember, or you could just go back. We showed you guys the crimp connectors, and we showed you the connector, the crimper itself, which I want to say it was right around like 40 bucks. So do it yourself. If you're scared about taking it to another shop, if you're not local to us, learn how to do it. And the plus side is if you ever have to do any more wiring, well, you already have the tools, or maybe you have a buddy or some friends in the car community where you can help them out later. Or, you know, hey, yeah, you can borrow my tool, lend me 20 bucks or something. It's a nice tool to have, especially if you're into modifying cars, and like I said, if you have no other solutions, alternatives, or whatever. Without that being said, whatever I'm looking for. Without that being said, I don't know if this sound right. I'm gonna get back to work. I'm gonna let them also do their work, but I'll be back. And I was looking for the word with that being said. And we're open. You heard the phone ring. As I said it before, I'm in here because the shop is loud. It's a business, and I'm getting pulled out right now too, right before this video. Someone was just waving me over here that I need to go, so there you go. That's what I was looking for. So, we're on the dyno side, in case you couldn't tell. And I actually hopped off and I went next door, only to find, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. Give me 1 second here. I'll be right back. Only to find another white S2000. So as I walk back over here, and when I was on the other side, I didn't want to keep interrupting my techs because they're working and they're making a living. And the last thing they want me to do is say, hey, can you stop for a second? Well, let me get some videos. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pop the trunk. I'm going to show you, in case you don't know where the fuel pump is on these things, I'm going to show you the ECU that's underneath the dash. That's already all set up, but it is mounted. Okay, so I just had a phone call and it stopped recording, so now I am back. So as I was saying, the ECU is already set up. I'm going to show you guys where it mounts. It's a fairly easy install. Now, when I say that, if you're not familiar with working on cars at all, same with the injectors, the fuel injectors. You know, the fuel injectors are a fairly easy install, but if you're not used to working on cars, it might be a little difficult for you. And it might be a little bit intimidating just because you are messing around with fuel. The fuel pump, same kind of deal. I'm gonna sneak on by here really quick and I'm gonna show you guys first and foremost. I'm gonna grab my light. So you can see the ECU, follow the yellow cable. And the ECU is mounted up. I'm gonna get my camera up there. It's mounted up there and it's zip tied in. That's really the only way you can get it to hold and stay. It's not gonna go anywhere. I mean, it might seem like, you know, hey, isn't there a better way? And they just don't make a bracket. These plug and play platinum ECUs are more so, you know, kind of like universal per application. But that's where that sits. The cable is a very, 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 very pain in the butt to get to. So what we do is we'll just wrap up the cable and we'll tuck it underneath so it's easy to get to if anybody ever needs to get to it, if I need to get back into it. Now, I'm gonna go pop the trunk here really quick. Give me a second. So we're inside the trunk and you can see that half the gray panel is missing. And if you look back there, let me scoot up here to make your life a little bit easier and better. If you look back there, we still got to put the screws in. But there's the fuel filter housing. It is a pain in the butt to get to. If you have a hard top, it's a little bit easier to get to because you can get it from like the top area. You can see that's the soft cover, the top, whatever you want to call it. What's the word? So the fuel pump's in there. Let me not drop my phone. And as I was in here putting some of the parts away that we got to still install, you can see the other piece of the panel. This is a stock ECU. You can see the mounting brackets. And like I said, the main reason why Haltech's not doing it is the cases are more so universal. For them to make little tabs on that, they would have to make a specific case for the S2000, which of course would increase the price. And this is a budget ECU, budget friendly, I would say. Plug and play. It's definitely has a lot of capabilities too, though, so I don't want to get budget confused in that sense. And now we're in the engine bay area again, and with the injectors, You got one nut right here, one nut right here. You got a bolt right here, a bolt, and a bolt right here. And then you got, you know, the fuel regulator and whatnot. You can either take that off with the rail. It's not a super complicated thing, but as I said, you are dealing with fuel. The other thing is, you know, we don't recommend running the injector adapters, which I was talking about before and prior in this video. Yeah, it's hard for me to say or even feature installing injectors in a sense, just because we've done it so many times. So, you know, do I have any like crazy tips or suggestions? If you're going to tackle it and it's your first time, take your time. Yeah, once you get everything back together, especially when you're dealing with fuel, prime the car multiple times. Have a buddy that's, you know, standing watching for any fuel leaks, and, you know, let the car idle for a little bit. Normally with fuel as well, you know, you're going to see, if you're watching it, of course you're going to see a fuel leak. But, you know, let's just say you go inside the car, you think there's no fuel leaks, and after a couple minutes of idling, you know, maybe something was a little bit loose and it just started, you know, trickling a little bit of fuel. You're going to smell it first with fuel. That's just, you know, how it is usually. I won't say all the time. You know, the fuel pump is it's all inside and caged and whatnot. You got to just take your time with stuff like that. There's really no, you know, it's patience. Patience is the key. That's really what it is. Same with the ECU. It could be it could be a pain in the butt. You could be struggling. You're working underneath. You're in a limited space. So you got to take your time with that. And of course, as I'm doing this video, we can do it all for you to make your life easier. Besides that, what I will say, let me get back over here. What I was going to say too now is the Haltech has its own vacuum source because it actually has a 3-bar map sensor. So if you're running Boost, you don't need an aftermarket map sensor. It has it built in. Now the vacuum hose you have to bring to the ECU to a vacuum source, of course. Makes sense. And I actually had to ask my tech where he ran it. Now we try to do everything clean. We try to hide everything. And if you look down here, I'll grab the light. You can see the vacuum hose tube is right. I'm not going to be able to grab it because I'm going to block it off, but it's right here. So it goes underneath the actual harness and then it comes up and gets its vacuum. So all in all, it's one of those things. If you have the time and you have the patience, you know, you can tackle all these jobs yourself. But as of course I said, we're here for you. The other thing I do want to add, and I just so happen to have my Haltech hoodie on, not because I'm trying to, I mean, I love Haltech, but it's super comfortable. So I wear it all the time. And my RC AutoWorks hoodie I also wear, that we have for sale. But what I'm trying to say is, if you purchase a Haltech from us, we're here to support you. If you got questions, if you got, you know, hey, can I run something? Can I run a vacuum line here? Whatever the case might be, we're here for you. That's what it's all about. Besides that, I'm going to get some tuning footage. You're going to see some dyno pulls, and this one's pretty much a wrap. There's really, you know, I can do a how-to step-by-step video of us taking the ECU out, a time-lapse video, but it's not going to really help you do it. If it's something that you want to do, you feel confident enough, just be patient with it. I think you can get it. With that being said, I'm gonna hop back in. I already said, if you guys order from us and support us, we're here to support you. I want to get back to work. One last thing I did want to mention. When I do these videos, it's not to make it seem like anything is easier than it should be. You got to remember how long I've been doing this for, how long we've been open for. It's 22, I think it's 21 or 22 years. It's a while. It's definitely a while. As my barber said, getting more and more gray hairs. But yeah, so, you know, like it's one of those things that if you got questions and you want to order something from us and you got questions beforehand, reach out to us on Facebook, RC AutoWorks, emails rcautoworks@gmail.com. And as I said before, and I always say it, these videos are for you. Our support is to help you. So if you guys got questions or you want to see us cover something really, really in depth, or you want to have something covered on the podcast we're doing, let us know. Well, that's never good. So we got a little bit of a leak coming over. I don't know if it's from the actual reservoir itself. If I hold the flashlight over here, you can see that it's down there dripping. I don't know if it's from that, or you see this hose right here. The hose right here is wet. It's actually a little bit soft too, so I don't know if that's causing it. Did alert the customer. He told us to take care of it, so that's what we're gonna do. Dyno tune's all finished up, so not worried about that aspect. I'll be back. So I don't know if you're gonna actually be able to catch it, but inside the actual shop behind the car, we can tell when a car is smoking, and this one is smoking. I don't know if you're gonna see that in video, but what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling the spark plugs out to take a look at them. And what I did notice was, if I flip this around here, the plugs are pretty much hand tight, and they don't look like they've been replaced. They almost look OEM, honestly. See how crusty they are. So what I'll do too is, let me put this spark plug down. Here's the other one. Doing this all with one hand. So we'll see if this one is also hand tight. This one's tight. So let's see, disconnect this last coil and see if this last one is hand tight. The first two are hand tight. Nope, just the first two. So I'm gonna pull them out. I'll be right back. So you can see the plugs are out now. They're actually Bosch. I didn't notice that. Spoke to the customer. He said he replaced them about a year ago or so, and he said he did notice that it's been smoking more than usual. Car's got 135,000 miles on it. I think it's roughly around there. I told him if it never had a valve adjustment, since he's owned it, I also recommend that. So we're gonna put some new plugs in it and do a valve adjustment. You can definitely see this one's a little crustier than the rest. But that's about it. This one is a wrap. As I said before in this video, if you guys got questions, comments, or concerns, you can either comment down below. You can reach us on Facebook or Instagram at RC AutoWorks, or email us at rcautoworks@gmail.com, or our phone number is 708-599-5884. Thanks for watching. You know, I'm back. I wanted to document one more thing too, and if you watch my past dyno videos and you know all about this and whatnot, but you know, when I get a car up in the air, I do a once over, and I go over everything, and well, my dyno straps need to go over the control arms. And what I did notice was, if you look here, how the brake line is just rubbing on the sway bar, and it's not bolted down to anything because there's no bracket on the actual shock itself. And it is on both sides, same exact type deal. Sorry. You can see it's the same deal, it's rubbing too. Over time, that could rub a hole through the lines, and if that were to happen, you're gonna have no brakes. So it's something else we're gonna take care of too for them. And it's just something that we do on a daily basis here. Our main concern is not only the health of the cars and the engine in general, but it's the safety for our customers as well. So that was one last thing I wanted to document on this video and just show you guys. Thanks for watching.